Alrighty, what is up, world? I am super excited to be here. It is Slitherwin. I am here with some of the Harry Potter Wizards Unite YouTubers, YouTubers out there. Today we have in the house we have Chris from Wizard Way. We have Wizard PhD Lynette. Super excited to have you here today, even though it is snowing in Tucson, which is crazy, crazy weather happening around the world. We have Britt from A Wizard Guide. Super happy to have you. And of course, we have our James from Expecto Go. So welcome, everyone. I'm super excited to have this Q&A with you. We have a couple really great questions queued up, and if you guys do have any questions, just feel free to go ahead and leave those in the chat, and we will get around to those after we finish up these first set of questions. So I'm going to pass this one off to initially Chris from Wizard Way. Let's go ahead and jump in. So the Magical Family Time had asked us, asking the question, you know how certain places are extra special Pokestops? Will it be like that for Wizards Unite? I'm imagining Universal Orlando or Universal Studios as an epic play space. What are your thoughts on that?
Ooh, well, I'm the perfect person to ask because I live like only an hour and a half about away from Orlando. So you can definitely expect that I will be haunting Universal Studios quite frequently as I can get away. Definitely, as far as we know, the game is going to be formatted around the existing sort of map feature, the overworld map that we have in Pokemon Go. So there is going to be definitely a link between that and Wizards Unite when it comes out. There will probably be points of interest. It's the same sort of map that they've created, but we don't know what it's going to look like and how we are going to interact with it yet. Certainly there are other people who can comment on little bits and pieces that we've seen in various trailers to give us hints, but that's not my area of expertise because y'all have made much better videos than I've done. So definitely I do think there will be points of interest, and who wants to comment on points of interest in the game?
I don't really have much to add. That sounds right. Yeah.
I'll say Britt.
There we go. Okay, I'm unmuted. So here's what I'm thinking. If they don't take that opportunity to make Harry Potter World something phenomenal, I will be so disappointed. Because we don't just have Harry Potter World in the US, correct, Chris? Like we've got Harry Potter World at least in Japan as well, right?
Yes. There's one in Tokyo for sure. I'm not sure if they're building one elsewhere. I thought there were rumors about one being built in either the Chinese Disneyland or the one that's over in Paris, but nothing confirmed as far as I know. So definitely over in Japan, they even feature Harry Potter in their parade over there, and that was a big deal before he was in the celebration that they have with all of the water shows that's now at Universal in Orlando.
Yeah, so it's like such an awesome opportunity. And can we have like the equivalent of Go Fest in Orlando, please?
Oh, that would be awesome.
It'd be so cool. We'll all sweat to death. We'll lose like 30 pounds there.
But just in water weight.
So awesome. Yeah, seriously. It'd be so awesome.
Actually, I do have something to add real quick before James goes. So I was at the park last, or 2 weeks, whenever it was, and I brought my interactive wand that I bought there to do, spells. And I kept thinking about, so they have that ride where you put on the glasses. And so like a lot of what makes Diagon Alley and Hogsmeade magical is like the immersive experience of it. So incorporating whatever comes with the game and having AR as another layer of you're just adding on to this like magical experience, I think it would be a missed opportunity if they didn't do that, I guess is what I'm saying.
No, I totally agree. Especially in regards to that immersive experience. I forgot who had shared it, but we were in Tokyo and they had the footage of the AR. And you had the gyms in Tokyo via AR over top of buildings and everything like that. So if they don't do anything like that, like it's going definitely be a missed opportunity because there's a bunch of Pokestops and portals like at those type of places. I know in my neighborhood we have a hub where there's like 4 Pokestops and portals just within like less than 2 feet of each other, like just right clustered together. And so we were actually talking about that because we wanted to do a video on hotspots to play Wizards Unite, possibly. Will these Pokestops be Portkeys or different types of things from the Wizarding world? We don't know yet, but they definitely have to utilize the map because it's Niantic. That's why WB hired them. They want to utilize that nationwide, worldwide map that they've already displayed, that Ross Finman displayed in his keynote speech. So yeah, it's definitely going to be Pokestop versions of Wizards Unite in the game, definitely.
And just as a final note, I haven't put this in a video on my channel yet, go figure, but I talked with Britt and Mike about this when they were down in Orlando, that Universal has actually repurchased a huge swath of land here in Florida as well. And basically, we're thinking it's such a large piece of land, it would make sense for them to build a 4th park here. So if they do that, it would be a huge wasted opportunity if they didn't put something interactive in the new park to go with these games, because they would definitely do something Harry Potter related in order to make sure that people spend more time at the various parks, having to go to multiple parks to experience everything. So it would be a huge wasted opportunity if they didn't incorporate something having to do with Wizards Unite in the new park as well. So final note.
Awesome. Thank you all for that input. It's good to hear you guys. I want to thank Deanna for that question at a magical family time. Super happy to answer your guys' question on that. I did have a quick question for all of the WooTubers before we move off this one. So has anyone here been to extra special Pokestops or places in which there was like seemingly a lot of Pokemon like spawning in that? And if so, where was it?
With me, definitely Universal Studios, but that's a given. Any theme park is going to be loaded with Pokestops and gyms because there are a lot of very visual places that you can focus on at places like that where everything is themed. As far as my actual area, the one shopping center that we had that had, I think it was 8 gyms and about 20 Pokestops, all of them just got deleted a couple weeks ago. There's only 1 Pokestop and 1 gym left because all of the businesses complained about traffic for community days and such with Pokemon Go. So I don't have any good places. I have to drive about 45 minutes to get to a good spot that has a good cluster. So, yeah.
Certain airports for me, so I've been traveling a lot, so not all the airports that I go to, more of the larger hubs, especially if there's multiple gyms like in a terminal area, and then I'll just be like waiting for my flight and pop up a million Pokemon. So not necessarily like let's hang out at airports, but if you happen to be traveling, that could also be a good thing to see.
So if y'all come to Nashville, well, for one, like holler at me. We're here. But Centennial Park here in Nashville is just like loaded with stops. And it's so fun on community days because it's just cram-packed with people playing Pokemon Go. And you keep getting stopped by people out there like walking their dogs. And they're like, what are all these people doing? And we're like, yeah, Pokemon Go, it's still alive. There's like hundreds of us here. But it's so cool. We did... when it was like the Pokemon World Championships came through Nashville or something like that. And so they had like special Pokestops or whatever that they made for that, which was super cool. And they had, a lot of spawns around those. And it was only there for like the event, which was super cool.
I know in the Hampton Roads area, there's a couple of spots, but close to me is downtown Norfolk is the city. There's literally over like 80 within a 2-mile radius of each other, just Pokestops. Granby, which is one of the streets, has 20 with less than a mile, and we call it a Granby run when you're trying to unload gifts or open gifts or regroup gifts and stuff like that. Everybody just drives up and down. Obviously community day is popping down there, but definitely downtown Norfolk, Pagoda, which is this little tea house, that's the place that had the 4 in the cluster. But the beach as well, which is like 25 minutes, half hour from where I'm at. There's literally like 3 Pokestops at each corner, each block of the beach. And there's like 46 to 50 blocks. So yeah, you can like ride your bike and get a lot of kilometers and stuff like that. So yeah, definitely Virginia Beach and downtown Norfolk down here for real.
Awesome. Well, thank y'all for your answers. Super, super good to hear that there is still a Pokemon Go happening in kind of everywhere across the U.S. From what I'm hearing, there's places you can go. I'm super sorry to hear, Chris, about your loss of Pokestops in an area. I definitely know that. I actually lost a gold gym that I had, and it was the most disappointing situation when they took it out, where it was like, oh, I would like worked super hard to get it in there, and I was like max on this gym, so I always got a lot of items from it and disappeared. But
yeah, of our big group, there was one that was still silver for me, and I was so close to getting it gold, and now it's gone.
Yeah, it's a super big struggle, like when those things happen. So hopefully they plan that out a little bit better. I think there's always going to be that struggle between whether or not a business wants something there and whether or not it's going to be feasible to have a gameplay in that area. So a couple of places that I've seen, definitely amusement parks. I can attest to that. So coming from SoCal, Disneyland, super super amazing. Apart from cell service being a little bit of a trick to play there. And Universal Studios in Hollywood is also really great, and there's lots of really neat stops. There's also old stops, which I think is always fun when you see something that isn't there anymore, but it's been like replaced with Harry Potter World. But I really want it to be replaced and updated, so that way it's like I can get a gift from like the castle instead of like Fred Flintstone's car or something.
Cool.
So all good stuff. Thank you all for your answers. The second one is from Dustin at the Wizard Go app. Thank you for tweeting this out. So there's 2 questions here. First one, what type of videos do you plan on making once Wizards Unite comes out? Tips and tricks, news, gameplay? And then what type of preparation are you hoping to do before it comes out? So it's a 2-part question. First one, what type of videos are you planning on making? And the second one, what type of prep are you doing before, or what type of prep are you hoping to do before the game comes out?
Oh, me first. Gosh. So definitely gameplay on my end. I don't have a lot of time in my personal life in order to edit fantastic videos. So while I do want to have like maybe one good edited video every 2 weeks or so, I am going to try and live stream relatively frequently. Also being close to the parks, I think live streaming from the Universal Parks would be something that not everybody else is able to do. So it's something that I could do that y'all won't have covered because I know everybody else is going to have awesome content too. So I'm trying to fill a void that I know you guys not necessarily able to. So preparation wise, I haven't really been able to do much prep other than I do want to finally read some of the screenplays. I'm rereading the Harry Potter books just to get up on my lore. And yeah, so I'm trying to learn more about like the background of Harry Potter so that I can give more context and be more of an authority when I speak in my videos. Try and keep it as professional as possible. So next.
Yeah, so I also, one big thing about this game that we can kind of see a little bit from Pokemon Go content is the community aspect of it. So over the summer, I did a couple of community days, and I brought my dog, and I was practicing vlogging, and with the puppy, it was not that easy, but it was still really fun, you know, meeting people and people coming up to me and being like, what are you doing? Oh, you have a channel? I have a channel. So like that was kind of cool. But then there's also this, so I'm currently in Tucson, Arizona, but there's also this like, oh, are there any YouTubers in Tucson? Like no one famous, like that sort of thing, which I mean, I understand that kind of perspective, but really like anyone can create content and build community wherever you are in the world. And so that's like the magical thing about what I see these games doing is not only integrating this magical experience and having, you know, reliving childhood memories for a lot of us that grew up with the books when we were children, but also bringing communities together just to explore where you are locally, support local, you know, artists, local businesses, just whatever, and find communities find spaces to be around and to be with others and to, I don't know, have fun. And so a lot of my content when the game launches is going to be vlogging from that community standpoint, where I am locally, if I'm in Tucson still, or if I go somewhere else, wherever it is, if I'm traveling, I really want to highlight that and showcase different communities that I interact with. And in preparation, so I'm saving a lot of my money. I had with the Daily Dobby, we had this Valentine's gift guide, and so some of those items are on my wish list of either upgrading equipment or just having battery packs, making sure I'm prepared when I have, you know, days where I'm just out and about trying to contain the calamity. So saving up for that, and also just practicing my my craft, so like how I'm telling stories. So that's something for this year that I have a goal for my channel, is to bring in how we tell stories in an entertaining way and showcasing the beauty that's around us in our world. So that's what I'm doing.
Cool. Okay, is it going to me or you?
Yeah, it's you. You, Rick.
Okay. Okay, so if y'all don't know, we're super pregnant. We thought we were done with kids forever, and now here we are again with like a teenager, and now we'll have an infant. So our plans for the channel are evolving, I guess, changing. I don't know. We're just trying to like stay alive with another kid on the way. So I know that we'll probably be doing more live streaming than we had initially planned for, because I don't trust myself on live streams. I just don't trust myself. So Chris knows because she recorded.
She's got to keep it family friendly.
I know, it's so bad. My poor kids are messed up. Okay, so I don't know. I know that we'll probably be doing more live streaming, but we do play with both of our kids. Like I said, we have a teenage son, and then our youngest right now, Penny Lane, is in 3rd grade. That's so bad. She's in 3rd grade. So we do play like Pokemon Go with our kids. And I know that we'll be playing Wizards Unite with them. So I would expect that we'll have more, I wouldn't say vloggy type videos, because it's just so heavy on editing. But we'll have more videos with like the kids and stuff like that, which will have to be edited, because I'm not putting anybody through all that in the van, having to listen to them. My phone's dying. He ate my Twizzler. So yeah, as far as preparation, I have my trusty note that has to be replaced, like so bad. So I need to like decide on a phone, I guess, and get a new phone. That's it.
I know over here, okay, preparation. We're looking into a bunch of different aspects. Streaming, obviously. There's a couple of stuff we've been looking at, like IRL streaming, different networks, apart from our phone networks and everything, to kind of give clear and good streaming while we're playing the game, especially if we are able to get a beta invite, because you want to stream and just get as much content of that out as possible. I'm used to the vlogging aspect, which is crazy. I had a whole year to do that with Pokemon Go last year. I just now started getting into editing with just certain sit-down type interviews, type videos like this. This is new to me. So I'm ready to get back out and kind of do the vlogging style, because I felt like I was hitting my stride, particularly at the end of the year last year. And with what Susanna's bringing, it's going to be cool to see as far as like preparation. We want to get new phones. Our camera, we feel like we're good. We got the mic, audio, and we got a new Gorilla tripod and a bunch of other stuff. So like, I feel like we're there. We got like 2 battery packs, a bunch of stuff. Like, again, I'm used to vlogging, so I'm ready to do that. But as far as content for the channel, is basically just kind of showcasing my area and what we have to offer in the world of Wizards Unite. And it's not as big as Santa Monica or California or like where everybody else, the big YouTubers are and everything. So I definitely want to showcase what we have to bring to the table, because we have a ton of Pokestops. So until hopefully it will be a bunch of Wizards Unite stops or whatever you want to call it and everything. So I want to utilize that. We have a strong community. We'll do like 30 raids in 3 hours and stuff like that around here. So the community aspect around here is pretty tight knit, and we kind of like, we go hard when it comes to these types of games. And I'm trying to get the word out. I'm trying to get everybody involved in Wizards Unite. That's kind of hard to do with the Pokemon Go community right now. But as far as for the channel, that's what I would plan to do. And I'm excited to do that, because it's fun doing that and being creative and finding what you can bring to the table, especially when there's so many other good YouTubers and other content creators out there.
Awesome. Thank you, Dustin, for asking us that question. Wizards Go app, super excited. For me, I did want to answer this one. I think this is very interesting. So I was actually thinking about this very recently on how I wanted to steer the channel, or how I wanted to grow as a person who's doing content creation, how to better the craft, how to better the skills. And with that, I've been doing a lot of SkillShare courses lately. So I will probably link that in the description after the video. But it's a really good way that you can just learn from some of the best content producers out there, learning different crafts and learning how you can actually do different and unique situations with camera work, with lighting, with how to like really tell a story in a way that is unique and challenging to those around you. So that way it encourages others to kind of learn and grow and become better together. And my goal is definitely to be vlog based, but I don't see why that would exclude me from things like tips and tricks and news and so many other things. Like, so many content creators here are really trying to develop who we are in this realm, but also it's about you. Like, it's creating content for the people out there so they can go out and be encouraged and excited to play, so they can know how to do this well. That we have a really unique situation in which Niantic is developing a platform for really building a beautiful community of people. And the community is what makes the game, in my opinion. Like, Pokemon are awesome, and that's a really cool way that we can engage in the community. It's a good way to bring us together, and so will wizarding. But ultimately, it's about how to build up relationships with those around us. And very recently, I actually crafted a mission statement for my channel, and it is this: to inspire all witches and wizards to protect the statute of secrecy, fight against the calamity by providing actionable tips through high-quality content creation. So ultimately, I want to be a creator that is able to continue to push myself to make better content for y'all's. And I think that's really what excites me, what drives me the most lately. And really, until we get that hype, until we get that final like game drop or some sort of indication of what the game will be like, a lot of it's really just how to build a community and how to grow together as wizards. So I'm very excited about that. How do I prepare for that? I told you. Skillshare, lots of learning, lots of growing together with those around us, getting engaged in the community. And I would also say that editing is kind of a new thing to me. So I'm trying to learn like kind of like new tips and tricks. So in my last video, I was like really excited because I learned how to like perfectly time a wand movement, which sounds silly, but it's like, it's little things like that that you can kind of like start to engage into stuff and build up how to make things better.
I will say, I want to encourage everybody, start a Facebook group as far as like for your local area for Wizards Unite. There's a ton of them already for Pokemon or for Ingress and stuff. Me and Susanna actually started one at the beginning of the year. Just a Facebook group for Wizards Unite, tips and news, and hotspots in your local area. That's a great way to do it. Obviously, like a Discord or a group me chat or something like that, where you guys can just talk about potential spots where you guys would be playing the game. I think that'll be a good way to connect the community as well.
Yeah, definitely. Very good insight. Thank you all for your answers, and thank you again to Dustin at the Wizard Go app for asking those phenomenal questions. So next one actually comes from a fellow WooTuber, Snitches and Witches, and she did want to be here with us today, wasn't able to. But here's a question for us, and this might ruffle a couple feathers out there. If you had one Get Out of Azkaban free card, which of the unforgivable curses would you use?
Oh no. Please don't tell me I have to go first on this. I need
Yes.
time to think. Oh gosh. I'm way too kind-hearted to want to kill or torture anyone, so it would probably end up being Imperio over something. And just because my partner's chronically ill, I could totally see myself, imperioing people to give her better care. Because being a woman of size, she is often basically all of her health ailments are blamed on her weight, and that's very, very upsetting and not productive at all. So I would imperio people to give her better health care, but that's like the first thing that pops into my head. But I can't imagine myself doing so. But Get Out of Azkaban free. Who knows why would I be tossed into Azkaban? Probably not even anything having to do with the curses.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I don't know. So like, I feel like, okay, in my head initially, and when Chris said Imperial, I was like, yeah, I would go with that. Then I thought for a second, I was like, I don't know. Maybe Crucio, because, okay, I think like really philosophically about humans all the time, and I have like different working theories, and I feel like if anyone's seen The Good Place, like that show makes me feel like, yeah, humans can be pretty terrible, like just in general. So maybe, I don't know, maybe we're all just like, we all torture each other to some extent. It's not intentional. Well, I mean, I don't know. Unforgivable curses, like, yes, it is intentional, but that of the three, I think that's what I would go with. I don't know. I don't
Hashtag
really
deep.
all of these are terrible, but that's
Wow.
Y'all are
Hashtag
so
deep, Lynette.
sweet. I like y'all. I would Avada Kedavra the crap out of it. Like,
Why did I see
tomorrow.
that coming?
like there are a couple people I got my list going just in case I turn out to be magical after all. Like I got a couple in mind right now. I know my husband's watching. He's driving home. Don't wreck, but it's not you, baby. Well, I'll get a couple more months into this pregnancy. We'll add you to the list too.
Oh wow, that's leave to Zoe.
It's such a Zoe question.
Yes, it's such a Zoe question. I mean, if I'm being a nice guy like Crucio or whatever, but like I'm with Britt. I can probably think of like one or two people. I'm just like, I would be happy if they like weren't around, some of them and stuff. So again, this is fictional. This is something I would never do or whatever. So I don't want like APB or James over Expecto Go or anything like that. Like this is just like for science, for testing or whatever. But yeah. I'm with Britt.
We'll have a tell together. We'll live stream for Marcel.
All right, so I just want to like reiterate here or iterate for the first time. The views and opinions of other YouTubers do not reflect the views of Slitherwing.
See, I said I don't trust myself live streaming.
Oh man.
We would all have a lot of fun making the special effects for that shot, though. Let's be honest.
There you go.
Green lightning.
There you go.
Great question. I think that has sparked some conversation here today. So thank you to Snitches and Witches Zoe out there. I'm super glad to have you asking some of those tough questions for needing some real answers to tough questions, right? We do have another question out there from another fellow WooTuber. This one is from The Daily Dobby. And forgive me in advance for the pronunciation here because I've heard it both ways, so don't at me. If you could choose an animagus, what would you choose?
Oh, I mean, there are so many cool things that you could become. Well, seeing as I'm the crazy cat lady of the bunch of us, I have 11 cats. I would probably end up being some sort of cat. The practical side of me thinks that that would be a good idea, but I would love to be able to fly. So something winged would be especially cool. But I have no idea how I would manage that. Maybe some sort of sphinx or something that, it's a winged cat.
I think I would want to either be something small and fast to get away, like a rat, or something that can fly, because I can also get away. So I'm thinking of like, okay, if there's danger, I'm getting out of here. Maybe an eagle, because Ravenclaw, that's me. Yeah. But yeah, something small, something that can get away really quickly.
Okay, I've thought about this before. So, like, if I was going to be discreet, I guess I would just be a cat. But really, I think if I could be anything, it would be like a big, sassy hippo. Like, I could be so down with that. Like, that'd be so cool. Then you could, like, if people are being a jerk, you can just sit on them.
That's classic and so very you.
Right? But I swear, I think my test was wrong. I should definitely be a Slytherin. I don't think I'm supposed to be a Ravenclaw.
I think so too.
But I'm only 5'1". Chris, you should understand this.
Oh, absolutely.
I'm always the short one. Like, I want to be a hippo, so I'm a little bit bigger in the world. People notice me a little bit more. That's probably why I'm so loud. I'm
compensating, yeah.
Okay, so I'll be the hippo. So if you see like a hippo running around Nashville, you'd be like, "Oh, that's just Brittany."
Yeah. I would probably I like kind of roaming with the pack, so definitely like a wolf, kind of not like being alone, kind of hanging with cats and doing stuff together, like a family oriented type thing. I come from a big family, so I don't know, it kind of made sense to me, kind of doing that and then evolving into the leader of the pack, hopefully, if I mature enough or be able to lead or something like that. But yeah, a wolf would be pretty tight, in my opinion. I don't know.
I would choose a great white shark because it would be the most impractical thing to see if you were on land. And I could just flop around and pretend like I exist there, and that for some reason there's a great white shark like in the middle of like Manhattan or something, just like rolling down the street and just like transform real quick, which I think would be hilarious just to see people's reactions.
Yeah.
I also think it would be practical for when I do end up saying, do you know what? I think the world's gonna be like not do so well. I'm just going underwater and I'm gonna just peace out.
Of course, I just had the Baby Shark song go through my head, so that makes it hilarious.
Great question out there, sparking some interest. Thank you to the Daily Dobby Clay for asking that.
Oh my gosh.
The burning question that I think quite a few of us have been asked, all of us have been asked. It has been searched millions of times, theoretically, on the internet. When do you think the game will release?
Ooh, let the games begin. I have thought for a bit that just spring was probably way too soon, that we didn't have enough promotion coming from the actual companies to really hope for a spring release. So I've been thinking summer, probably July. July is not only like in the middle of summer break, at least in the Northern Hemisphere, but it's close to Harry Potter and J.K. Rowling's birthday. It's also when the 20th anniversary of Prisoner of Azkaban is going to be. So throughout the month of July, there are a lot of different opportunities that they could sort of tie it in, and that's just my best guess, but I have no clue.
Yeah, I'm so done with this question. Okay, so because I feel like we were all hyped of like, oh, it's coming 2018. And then it was like, oh, maybe that leaked Paladone thing, maybe March 2019. So now we're all like, oh, March 2019. And so actually, Accio Wizards Unite has our a collection of a lot of our guesses. And so I kept my guess as March because I'm in this like Reddit competition thing or whatever, like, oh, and then everyone else is like, oh, summer. So I look like the silly one that's like, oh, March is coming. But, so I don't know. It's already, what is it? February 22nd. No, March is not coming. I mean, I would gladly be surprised and I would be so happy if it came in March. But I'm also on the bandwagon with everyone else. I think July, hopefully at the beginning of July, but I don't know, summer release. And also like all of the things, we have all these like little secret things that we're trying to piece together. We're like, oh, this means this or this means that. And look at the clock and count the things. And I don't even know anymore. Who knows? I think summer, probably, I'll just go with the pack at this point, summer. But I would be glad if it was earlier.
I will say one thing, though, that Lynette, there's nothing wrong with being optimistic. So I like that you're like, no, March, darn it, because it's totally okay to be optimistic. I think that keeps us all positive, and we're like, hey, it could be, it could, hopefully, maybe.
Well, there has to be balance. So if there's going to be so much positivity, I'm getting real salty over here. I'm going to go with 2020. I think it's coming out in 2020. And y'all, if it comes out in July, when I am giving birth to a baby, no. I'm going to be so mad. No. I'm going to at the crap out of Niantic. Like, for real, man, I wasn't pregnant when this was announced, and you guys waited till right now. I would have planned it out. So
they'll do it just to spite you.
They will. They will. 2020. That's my final answer.
I'm with the group consensus, which is the summer. July, like what Chris was talking about with the birthdays. I hope it's before any of the birthdays. So like if it comes out like late June, early July, then I think what Harry's is like on the 31st, we can have like a community day type thing or an event within the game or something like that. So definitely July. I'm feeling like into June is usually everybody's getting out of school and then in the US anyway. So that kind of makes sense. I think Pokemon Go is what, like I think the 6th of July, something like that, if I remember correctly. To Lynette's point, though, as far as like them like kind of changing dates and everything, we were just actually talking about that today because with the whole news of the new latency with the 5G and everything that mobile games X or whatever is doing, and then they're going to be showcasing Project Neon at the MWC conference next week and everything. It made me think back all the way back to the beginning of 2017 when they announced that it was going to come out in November of 2018, because that's when Crimes of Grindelwald came out. That was going to be a big Harry Potter month, but them pushing it back makes sense because I think they didn't realize how much money they would make from Pokemon Go, because they made like over 800 million from the game. And then with the new AR stuff and what Niantic is doing with the new Series B, with the investments and getting all that stuff, what Samsung's doing, I think they kind of told WB Games to kind of like wait, hold off. Like we're kind of doing something special right now and kind of getting investments. So which is why they kind of pushed it to this year, which is my guess. So like all these dominoes is kind of leading to definitely this summer, I think, but them pushing it back to this year when it was supposed to be come out November of last year kind of makes sense. So definitely July. always hashtagging Niantic we trust and everything. But I definitely think them and WB Games have a plan based off the events of this week. And I want the game out now. Like, honestly, I want the game. But at the end of the day, summer makes sense. So.
Good answers. Good answers. So I have made, I think all of us have made some videos on the potential release date or what we're kind of leaning towards and why. And in mine, I kind of talk about the potential for either a June or July release date based on how the clock hands are actually statically placed on the website. And so basically they're placed in a direction. Oh, don't mind me. I'm a professional. So they're placed in a static direction, which is not just like one single like 12-12 position. So I think dates could be potentially maybe in that, but ultimately, what's the safe answer? Harry Potter Wizards Unite will be coming out soon.
There you go.
I think soon is the definitive answer, the
Operative
Niantic
word.
answer of what we are going, when we're going to get this game. I think we're all kind of at the point of like, well, if I guess it, I know it'll be wrong.
Right.
So
we're at the point where it's just, it comes out when it comes out, because we have no actual word from anyone official at this point.
Nothing.
Yeah, kind of the standard answer, like, I'll get there when I get there. No, I'm super excited though, and once it comes out, it'll be easier. We don't have to answer this question anymore. So, but yes. I do think it's a good one. So that was an Instagram question sent to me, and that was from the Wizard Unite Germany Instagram page. So thank you to them. If you are not following us on social media or anything like that, I did link all of our YouTube pages for everyone in the chat down below in the description area. So before we get to that next question, I just want to say, hey, if you haven't yet, throw those open in a new tab. Make sure you subscribe to everyone here. Super glad to have them on the live stream today. So this next question also came through Instagram. It's through the Daily Dobby again. So second question for them. Why do you think that the Calamity is happening?
Ooh.
I think James wants to go first on this one.
James got this.
Yeah, please go ahead.
No, in our when I was talking, when I did like the top 5 like questions I wanted answered video like back in January, I was like, I want to know what the Calamity is. Like, that's the next thing I need to know in the trailer. Obviously, we got the Niffler trailer, but we were throwing out theories, Susanna and I, kind of like going back and forth, and it makes it seem like it's not one person, or it's not like a group of people, a group of witches
like
or wizards.
Team Rocket.
Yeah, right. It's not that. So we're kind of thinking it's like a force of nature, something that's happening by accident, and they have to keep track of it because they don't know why it's happening or how it's happening. So these trace numbers, they're all tracking and filing and hopefully compiling it together to find an answer to hopefully stop it for good, which is basically what we'll be doing with the SOS task force. One of the cool theories Susanna had throughout was the Department of Mysteries, where like the craziest stuff could happen. They do a lot of crazy things in there, and maybe something had went wrong, and boom, the Calamity happened from them doing experiments and everything from that department, which is why the Ministry of Magic is so attached to it and why they have a secret task force to come out and go handle it, because they caused it, they messed up. So like, yo, we need to keep this under wraps, and like, you guys are going to be our eyes and ears because we can't do it ourselves. We got to enlist everybody from across the world, kind of use mogul technology like in the last thing. And I kind of like that, especially going back to like Harry being involved also possibly. We see the 3 wands on the logo. He's an Auror, he's working within the department. Everybody's like, yo, like, we haven't seen anything like this since you know who. Like, can you help us? Can you be a lightning rod? Can you be a rallying point for us and everything like that? So long story short, I think the Calamity is just a force of nature that kind of happened by accident via the Department of Mysteries. I don't know.
I think that's a great theory. Like, I really, really like that theory, because I find that, and this gets a little philosophical, but we tend to be our own worst enemies. And a lot of times, just in humanity in general, a lot of the problems, the larger problems that happen are really, we did it to ourselves.
Right.
Whether it's a failing of human nature or wizard nature in this case, or, you know, just we have banded and separated into factions and created strife through that. I do think that that's a really good theory, that we basically, something has happened, but ultimately it's our own fault, so we got to clean up our own mess at this point. That's totally plausible. And you never know what's happening in the Department of Mysteries.
Exactly.
They could blame anything on the Department of Mysteries and it would totally be plausible.
So I do want to say something about, so Chris, when you were talking about Team Rocket, so I was at Universal Orlando and I saw a record. This is actually going to be my Orlando vlog, which I'm not done with, but there was a record near Diagon Alley, the entrance there, by Team Calamity, which I looked up.
Ooh.
But that's all that I could find on it.
Oh, nice sleuthing.
And so maybe, I don't know. So I actually, okay. Zoe from Snitches and Witches really gets me thinking about conspiracy theories. So one thing that I was talking to her and Gita about was how it's interesting that we have the Ministry of Magic and also this threat level clock that is more Makusa. So like, what's up with that? Like, is there anything weird about that or suspicious about that? So then like my mind was like, okay, so these people, okay, don't get mad. I won't take it to everyone else. Ministry, it's not the Ministry. They're actually, it's someone impersonating the Ministry. Or they've been kidnapped.
Ooh.
So that was like so, yeah, this is gonna get weird.
I got chills though. I got chills, and that's a good sign.
The second like conspiracy-esque type thing that crossed my mind, the instant that we got the first trailer was, so we're in 2019 and we have all of these, we're connected but like also disconnected. So we have the internet, right? And the internet and all these tools. So perhaps the wizarding world is integrating digital technologies or muggle technologies into their world, and that's like causing some sort of glitching or disruption and things are not happening as they're supposed to. I don't know if that one makes more sense, but I was thinking about that because like recently, so like I'm obsessed with the show Black Mirror. There's like a lot of stuff now that's like thinking about the like perverted things that could happen and like all of these ethical questions with technologies. So like I think it'd be cool if there would be something like that related, but I also like the, you know, this is not the Ministry, like this is being impersonated, but I don't know. I have no idea, but those are like my fun things that in the back of my mind that would be weird and silly.
Ooh. It's a good question.
I think that you guys all have some really interesting theories. I think it will probably be way simpler than that. I mean, if I just ask myself, like, why does anything seemingly go wrong in today's age? The answer is always the same: millennials. So, I mean, we're already getting blamed for everything else. It must be that. Like, we just got blamed for killing mayonnaise. Why not get blamed for this too? The calamity is just the existence of millennials. Makes sense to me. I really feel like I'm contributing a lot to this conversation.
Well, I dodged the question entirely and gave it to someone else. So
They're mute.
I believe we call that waffling. Actually, learned that phrase in Australia. It's called waffling a question. Super fun. I tend to agree with Britt in that I think it's going to be something simple, something that I feel like is going to be I don't want to say unpopular among Harry Potter fans, but that I don't think that they're going to go into complex, rich backstory in the way that I think that it probably should. Because this game is likely targeted towards the younger generation and not necessarily a fandom. That they're saying, hey, we want to focus on those that have an idea of what Harry Potter is, probably seen the movies, maybe read the books, but not necessarily this like deep like, oh, we're going into like the Department of Mysteries and dealing, like, I hope so. I hope that they do a really good backstory.
Yeah.
But I feel like the game model has to keep it simple. Like, they don't want necessarily people tied up on this storyline of, well, why is this character talking to me at the beginning and what's their role in this? Kind of like how Professor Willow shows up in Pokemon Go. He's like, hey, what's up? Professor Willow here.
Right.
How's it going? I'm Professor Willow. Pick a team, do your thing. I don't want it to be that simple, but I feel like that's probably, at least in my mind, what it will be. I'm hopeful that they will have a lot of rich backstory, though, through like the website or through more avenues, because I think it's important to get people engaged in and really drawn into the game elements of this. But I want it to have the ability to pull back, and that's why we've brought in some thoughts on how I think that could be incorporated, but I don't necessarily want to say that's how they're going to do it, because I'll get too excited and then I'll be disappointed.
I would say with the storytelling aspect, because Sue and I were definitely surprised by the amount of detail involved with every little teaser trailer. Even the letter we had got from WB, there's a redacted signature on the bottom, like on it, and which kind of plays with the Harry thing, because he maybe doesn't want his name up there. But those are like government, like that's how government forms are. Like, believe me, like my family works in the government, and like even like a small like symbol, 2 small symbols on the bottom of the letter with, you know, department of this, department of that. Those aren't by accident, and especially with WB being involved and being with the lore for such a long time. Like, they brought in JK to do the Fantastic Beast, you know what I'm saying? So like, there's definitely going to be some storytelling for us, the older generation who grew up with the books, and have that similar, that small, that easygoing type feel that Niantic brings with their games as well, that community aspect. So and like off of what IVP was saying, like storytelling is going to be entrenched in the game. So like figuring out what the Calamity is and them possibly having an end game, maybe breaking it down in chapters like in Hogwarts Mystery. I could see that definitely happening. And especially with how well the game is doing, like I could definitely see that happening. So hopefully, I'm like with you, Slytherin. I hope it's easier for other players, and then you have that difficulty with the story and kind of follow along as that as well.
Definitely. Thank you all for your inputs there. Next question. So I'm pulling from the chat section in YouTube. Thank you to Akio Wizards Unite for asking this wonderful question. If you can choose a profession in the game, or profession for the game, they, like they had hinted at the Pottermore description, which would it be?
Ooh, I like this question. I'm not too knowledgeable about all the various areas of the ministry that you could be involved with, but I would definitely want to focus on like potions and forensics, that sort of stuff. I do aromatherapy, and that's why I have quote unquote potions class on my channel. But I really like, you know, looking at formulas and mixing things together and that sort of stuff. So if I could have a sort of specialty of being able to work items together and somehow be part of a team of like people doing different roles, I think that it would be really cool to be some sort of potioneer.
I would want to do something with beasts and creatures.
Yes.
So Newt is like literally one of my favorite characters.
Yes.
I think
He's awesome.
So awesome. And just like, I don't know. I think that that's what I would gravitate more towards. So like in the world, I'm going to go to Pokemon for a second. So like in the world of Pokemon, I would want to be like one of the people that runs a daycare center, or, you know, like I think that that role would be, I would like that. I would enjoy that very much.
You'd want to be the very best, like no one ever was.
Yes. Right.
Okay. Mike and I have talked about this. So when it comes to like Pokemon Go, like Mike loves to like raid and battle, and I get drug along to all that stuff. But I'm not really into all that. I really couldn't care less. I like to collect. So I think I would like to like collect like magical artifacts and stuff like that. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah, I'm more into that. And I wouldn't want to do animals because, you know, poop.
Virtual poop.
Yeah. There you go.
Some AR poop action.
Right. Like, I think that they need to work that in. I think that's only fair.
I know because we were talking about it based off like the signatures, like who is it, Grimblehawk. Matilda, she's like in the department of the beast and everything like that, so she kind of does that. So that's definitely like my alley. I've always wanted to be around like things that were bigger than me. I got like 2 kids and like my wife, and like I'm just like bigger than all of them. So I was like, it'd be nice to have something else bigger than me, you know, to kind of hang out with and stuff like that. So yeah, definitely working in the department of magical creatures or whatever with the Ministry of Magic. Definitely doing that. That's right up my alley.
I would want to be in part of the department of the disposal of magical creatures.
Wow.
Such a Slytherin thing.
Wow.
Just kidding. Just kidding.
He's like, get rid of Buckbeak. Who needs him?
Wow.
Violent creatures must go.
Just kidding. I would I'd want to be more like an educational stance. So if I could be a professor or something, I think that would be really neat if you could have some sort of like educational backing or way to like kind of help out or level up those around you. I think that would be kind of a cool feature that could be included. I don't know the practicality of that, but being like a guide or being can I just be like Yoda to someone? Is that cool?
A mentor.
Yeah. Yeah.
Master
and apprentice.
Definitely.
Great. You can sign off on all the Repello muggles.
Yeah, I'm just gonna sign everyone's everyone's traces. Just see what they have out there, figure out what their traces are, and then just sign off on them and be like, "Yep, that's a trace." All right. Thank you so much, Accio Wizards Unite. That's another one that I super say back and forth. Sorry in advance. Not sorry. Accio, I don't know. So Jim Dale says it Accio, and in the movies they say Accio and
Axio.
Wizards Unite. Where is it? Is it supposed to come in? Did it happen? No. Dang it. I'm doing that too much. Every time I read that name, I honestly like kind of giggle and I'm like, Accio Wizards Unite, and then I just check the App Store and it doesn't happen. Yikes. So next one, HP rankings. How do you think teams will work?
Oh, that's like a matter of debate. Gosh, and I wish Geeta were here because she's done like 2 or 3 videos just on teams on her channel. Lots of different theories abound. I kind of like the thought that there are no teams, that the whole point is Wizards unite, and so why would we be put in factions? But it's possible that we could be put in factions with a common goal. So we're not battling against each other, we're battling with each other. But yeah, I like to think that there aren't teams at all, but I could totally be wrong.
Yeah, I think so. If they incorporate it, so we're talking about professions, we're talking about, you know, different aspects that maybe we would have certain strengths in and other people might not have strengths in. I think that that is compelling from a, like, so the theme of Wizards Uniting, yeah, that's really cool. So we're all against the Calamity, we're against the game or whatever. Okay, so I'm gonna be honest, like, so I was browsing through Trainer Tip's recent video, and so like there's like a part that I stopped watching, so I wasn't really paying attention, but the idea of like the team leaders, I heard him say something like, oh, well, Spark likes hatching eggs, and Blanche likes doing this. So like I could see it that way. If especially if with Pokemon Go they're moving in a direction like that, where it's like certain mechanics in the game are strengths or privilege for whatever team you choose. So it's not necessarily we're battling against each other. Or I've said this before in, I don't know. I feel like I've been asked this question, but I say something different every single time. So this is something else I've said maybe at one point is, so like in Pokemon Go, you choose your team only after you're level 5. So like all of us are enlisting and we're trying to join forces, and we're about this idea of containing the Calamity. But then once we're all here and understand what the or like what's happening, maybe people might have different perspectives on how to approach it. So like that could be like another like a point of, well, maybe we are kind of in this like tension of like we have different visions for what this means. And so sometimes if I'm on a certain team and I'm doing certain activities, that might mess up what's happening for another team. So it's possible that they could still have the uniting aspect, but have teams that impact each other in some way. But I really don't know. I would like if we could have like the focus of different strengths. Like that would be, just because it's not something that currently exists in this like, hey, this is like something global and we could do this. Like I think that would be really cool to see how that plays out.
Yeah, so I've wanted from the beginning, I think this is maybe because Mike plays too much World of Warcraft, but Professions has always been where I wanted to see this go. And I think too, from the get-go with Pokemon Go, it was so hard to keep the teams balanced, and we were instinct. So like, freaking yellow, man. So it was really hard to keep those teams balanced. And so I hope that we don't go like in that direction all over again. But what I think we just love so much about Pokemon Go, and I really hope that we capture in the new game, is community. And so I think there's just such a huge opportunity with Professions to be able to utilize the skills of our profession to create like a well-rounded team for, you know, however it ends up carrying over, if we do stuff like, you know, like rating or quest or whatever, to be able to work together as a group. And hey, Pennyline, and create that like that well-rounded team, so that you have, you know, healers and you have people who are, you know, creating potions. And I just think that's so darn cool. Now, but my other one would be, if we want to keep that capture the flag aspect to the game, let's just go 2 teams and go bad and good. I'm just telling you, I'd be bad. I don't think that should be any. I would totally be bad because, but I'm competitive. Like I like there still to be that aspect to the game, but yeah, whatever. Just a game at this point would be good. I don't know what you do with it.
I basically echo what Lynette and Britt is saying about just with the Professions and everything, especially with the again the 3 signatures, Grimblehawk, her working in the department with the beasts and creatures and everything like that. So if we kind of were able to pick a profession that specialized, so we would report to her if we wanted to interact with fantastic beasts and specialize in trapping them or catching them from running amok in the Muggle world and everything like that. Everybody bringing in their skills together when we eventually do a quote unquote raid or something, trying to get a magical item or a Ministry of Magic class 5 beast or something like that. So definitely Professions makes sense. And like I said, with the 3 signatures, it'd be cool if they were the team leaders or professional managers or department heads we answered to when we reported our trace numbers that they gave us to look at or search out or whatever. I know Zealman was talking about like missions or tasks with the new registry from the new trailer and everything. So each logo kind of represented task or something, or a blimp that would be on the screen of something you would have to do within your designated area, neighborhood, city, or whatever. So, and you kind of bring in a skill set within your fraction or skill, whatever, would be ideal, I think, would make sense. I think I know a lot of people don't like the teams aspect that Pokemon Go has, because it has its positives and negatives and everything. But there's something to having a sense of pride with that. I kind of saw a bunch of polls online with like Training Tips, Mystic, Zoe 2 Dots and everything, and like 90-something% like they're not changing teams, like at all, like not changing teams. So there's definitely a sense of pride within like that avenue. So if you can implement that as well, maybe everybody has a sense of pride working towards a goal of stopping the calamity. But that pride, that announcement that this department killed it at this, worldwide event, Safari's event, and this other group didn't do as well or whatever, you know what I'm saying? Kind of bragging rights or whatever. But I don't know. I don't know.
Very interesting. So I did notice that none of you actually said the Hogwarts houses as teams, which I think was my initial thought, but I've definitely changed my opinion since then, thinking that while I would love to see it included or incorporated, I don't want it to be the team that I'm on. And what I mean by that is I think it would be really cool if we could sign in through our Pottermore accounts to link our characters back to, hey, I'm a Slytherin, like that'll be on my avatar or something like that. But it's not my team. It's not who I have chosen to be in like my post-Hogwarts days. That was who I was. That's who I went to school as. That's who I am. Slytherin, of course. But it's something that I think we could incorporate into our character profiles that we could see when we're actually, and I just did the video on this, so if you haven't seen a chance yet, it won't make sense. But one of the Niantic videos actually showed where you would have an avatar potentially in game that you could see, where they were kind of pushing these like objects and having it like float in the air. And there's like these masked, cloaked figures that are like all working together to like lift up an object, and you can see their 3 avatars. And I think if you could customize those to maybe add in like a flair of like, oh, you have your Hogwarts robe, or you have something kind of cool representing like where your background is, I think that would be a neat way to incorporate it. I think it would appease the fan base, but I don't think it has to be the concentration of what it is. And the main reason I think that is going back to Ingress. So Ingress was a 2-team game that ended up becoming a 1-team game. Pokemon Go was a 3-team game that ended up becoming a 2-team game. If they did a 4-team game, I don't think they would have a 3-team game at the end of it. I feel like it would just be the 2 more like prominent houses, or like the more popular houses of Gryffindor and Slytherin, while like Ravenclaw and Hufflepuff kind of like struggled to get their footing in the game, which I think is unfair. To obviously some of those characters out there that are like, hey, I want my house represented. I want to be able to do well in this, to be able to, like get special in-game galleons or sickles or canuts or something like that. So with that, I lean towards the idea that it's going to be a kind of style where we're incorporating different either tasks or missions. And I think that's what was missing from Pokemon Go. So remember when you first picked your team, you were like, I took a long time picking my team because I was like, man, do I want to be the one that has like super awesome power? Do I want to be the one that hatches all the cool eggs? Like,
right.
I spent a long time sitting there thinking about which team to join because I thought that's going to impact how I play this game.
Right.
And then I find out later it didn't matter.
It doesn't.
Like it doesn't change any dynamics or metrics in your game. It doesn't like increase the ability for you to hatch eggs. It doesn't increase your ability to gain more powerful Pokemon. It's nothing. That's where I thought that they could have incorporated something cool with a team to give you a slight bonus towards something, which I think could be incorporated in the idea of a profession or an idea of what it is. So I would hope in Wizards Unite we see kind of like a run-of-the-mill, like, hey, your first 5 levels are going to be your training grounds of like, hey, you've been recruited into the ministry for the SOS task force. Here are all the tasks that you can do, and then you kind of pick a team leader, a champion, a certain type of task, and you can level up more in that specific area.
I like it.
That's my hope. It's my dream. It's what I long for. It's what I live for. If they don't do it, okay, that's cool. But
yeah,
I think that would be
my
super neat.
only issue with the whole houses thing is that there are multiple wizarding schools worldwide, and to sort of funnel everybody as having been through Hogwarts seems kind of sad, because you have, you know, Castello Brujo or Mahotokoro in Japan, or Wagadu in Africa, and we haven't had any background information other than like one article on each on Pottermore. So there's nothing's fleshed out enough for us to have like a truly global approach to this, where you could be from any number of the main wizarding schools.
That's a great
I think
point.
that would be great, but we don't have a lot of information on the ones that aren't featured in the Harry Potter books. We see a little bit of Durmstrang, a little bit of Beauxbatons, but we don't see that much of anything outside of, you know, those four, with Ilvermorny being the fourth. So I really wish that there were more information that we could draw upon, because I think that having that as, you know, a regional sort of source of pride would be great, but there's just not enough source material to go on. So I wish that we could do that, but I don't think that that's necessarily going to be it, because I think it would be sad to be everybody going through Hogwarts, because that's not realistic in the world of Harry, in the wizarding world as it has been built by J.K. Rowling.
Right.
Awesome. Great point. So this next question comes from our very own YouTuber Animagus. Do I have a voice still? Is this thing on? Okay.
Yeah, I hear you.
If we have a NPC type character a la Professor Willow, do you think it'll be a character we've seen before or a character we've never seen before? I vote Harry.
Yeah, I was going to say Harry would be the obvious choice, just because the power of the franchise is strong with him. But beyond that, I mean, we do have a little bit of a tie-in with the Fantastic Beast cases from the Wizarding World with Mathilda Grimblehawk. So they're already tying existing people in and also creating new people that we've never heard of. So it's kind of, I don't know, it's anyone's guess at this point, but I could definitely see Harry being involved at some point, just because it would have a draw.
Yeah.
So I think new person, only because if it were Harry or any of the, you know, the trio, people might be upset of or critical about, oh, like however Harry phrases something or says something to us, that's not what Harry would say. I mean, I'm drawing on.
Oh, good point.
With Luke Skywalker. So like, I think that to avoid that, or to like, yeah, you can introduce them, have them pop in and out, but not be a main like guide type person. But that's, that's what I would think, maybe, if they don't go with someone new. Or someone.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I concur.
Short and sweet.
No, definitely new people. Again, I reference back to the 3 signatures, and like you said, Chris, with Grimblehawk already established and everything, calling back to some characters already. I just actually finished doing a Is Harry Potter in Wizards Unite video. I was supposed to do it this week, but we found the whole star with Gringotts, so we were like, oh no, we got to put that out first and everything. But I think it would be like a Professor Oak type thing. And what I mean is, when Meltan was released in Pokemon Go, it was Professor Willow and Professor Oak kind of talking about how they found this thing and everything like that. But that did not happen again till like 2 years into the game's release and everything. So I don't think initially you'll see him involved in it, but unless it's marketing, because the lightning bolt is everywhere. Again, on the website, they talk about these are things that haven't happened since you know who, and we know who defeated you know who. You know what I'm saying? So again, that's a nice little callback to Harry and his involvement. Maybe he doesn't want to be involved, but at the same time, you need a call, you need somebody to call upon and rely on. And at this age, especially if we're thinking that the time frame is now, those characters are older, they're involved in the Ministry of Magic or doing their own thing and stuff like that. So they kind of remember or call back to what Harry was involved in and what he kind of did for the Wizarding World. So I think eventually we'll see them. I mean, heck, you got their wands on the logo itself as well. So again, it is either clever marketing or they might have a purpose later on in the game, especially if it's story driven. So I definitely see both sides to it, but I think initially it'll be the 3 signatures from the jump first.
Good stuff. So I would like to ask one last question to everyone. And I think this is going to be a very personal, insightful question into a little bit about you as a YouTuber, as a content creator for Harry Potter Wizards Unite. And the question is this. This is a personal question. This was not asked by anyone else. So take it for what it is. Why Wizards Unite?
Let's wane philosophical, or wax philosophical rather. I don't know. I mean, much like a couple others in our group of WooTubers, I was watching Trainer Tips and he mentioned Wizards Unite was a thing, and he was like, so this is a perfect excuse for anyone who's been thinking of creating a channel. Here's an opportunity, and I was like, yes. I had already been considering making a channel around aromatherapy for Harry Potter potions, thinking that it would just be fun. But this gives me something way more community-oriented, something to get me out of the house, which is kind of a big deal in my life because I'm a caregiver and I have a full-time job as well. So having something to connect with people, not just locally, but also worldwide. I mean, I've connected with all of you guys too. That's a big thing for me. And so I was hoping that something like this would happen that would bring forth the community aspect and get me connected with people that I otherwise never would meet before. And so that's sort of why Wizards Unite for me. It's an opportunity to step out of my comfort zone. It's an opportunity to learn something new. I never thought I was going to create videos until this dropped in my lap. So there's a lot of whys it's become something for me, but I just really like that it's taken me out of my comfort zone and throwing me into something new. That's super exciting for me. So next.
Yeah, so surprise, I'm a millennial. I talk about that a lot. And I don't know. So I bring that up just because, so I grew up with the internet. I have been obsessed with YouTube forever. So me starting a YouTube channel, it's been a very slow, like building of courage, believing in myself that I can do something like this. The other piece about me, like a big piece of my own baggage, and so many of the YouTubers already know this. So my education has been very much focused on mathematics education, and that kind of boxes me in as like a math person. And so for the last, I don't know, like 5 to 7 years of my life, I've been trying to deal with that and basically prove to people like I'm more than just a math person. Like I am a whole complex human, and especially because I've been getting more into visual media and I don't know, movies, aesthetic, like any sort of visual storytelling. And I've been really excited to learn more about it. But also going back to the millennial thing is I quite frankly was just not fulfilled in my professional life. And so I was trying to seek meaning. And it's interesting because so I started playing Pokemon Go. I followed Trainer Tips, Pokemon Master Holly, like a bunch of YouTubers. I never really saw myself as a content creator until I just like took the jump and was like, I don't know, I'm just going to make some videos and see what happens. But yeah, and so that's why I always praise Niantic for just this vision of bringing people together, because it's so important in terms of like where I am just in my mind space as a human, like what is it that we're doing with our lives? Like, why do we exist? And like, that's like all the things that keep me up at night. But what am I doing to actually, and part of it is human connection. So thinking about when I find myself most fulfilled, most at peace, it's when I have connection with other humans. And so, yeah, Wizards Unite, like I'm really excited about the game, but it just happened to be this like really perfect timing of it, of like me gaining courage, me trying to like grow as a person and to also connect with others, and it just kind of fell into place. And because I grew up with Harry Potter, it like just makes it more magical and like fun for me to be silly and crazy on camera. So yeah, all of those things together just kind of merged into this wizard PhD.
So I feel like there's two different areas here. Why YouTube and why Wizards Unite? So as far as the why YouTube question, I've run a photography business for, I don't know, over a decade. I was always behind the camera, and I was very happy behind the camera. But I've talked about it on my channel before. I suffer from crippling social anxiety. Being in front of a camera is very uncomfortable for me. It's still very uncomfortable for me. Even though like Mike and I, part-time, we're on stage, like it's still very uncomfortable for me. And it got worse in the past couple of years, just personal crap. But this was a way of forcing myself to engage with the world again in a way that was most uncomfortable for me. I don't think that change happens in a comfortable space. If you want change to happen, that has to happen where you're uncomfortable. And this was the place that I was the most uncomfortable. So YouTube, that's why. Wizards Unite, for one, I grew up with it. It made me fall in love with reading. Millennial here too. But Pokemon Go. So I didn't grow up with like Pokemon, like being in love with it. Not like Mike was. Like my little brother was more into it than I was. But Pokemon Go released and happened at a really tough time for me as a parent. My son, who I'm so close to, became a teenager. And so mom is like not cool anymore, right? Like they don't want to hang out with you. And so Pokemon Go, I was like, I don't play games. I don't play console games. I did not play. I just worked all the time. But my son did. And he plays console games all the time with Mike. And so Pokemon Go for me was a bridge to my son. So, and it turned into this really cool thing for our family that we spend a lot of our free time. We spend date nights going Pokemon hunting. I'm like, baby, you ain't gonna buy me dinner. Like, just get me like a box on Pokemon and we'll be good. And so Wizards Unite, the only other franchise that I'm obsessed with outside of Harry Potter would be the TV show Lost, which is why Mike and I got married. Tender moments. And so it all kind of just fell into place at the right time. That this is an area that our family does life together. Like I really do like my kids. Like I like spending time with them. They don't like drive me crazy. I guess like maybe a lot of like parent-kid relationships are like, they're cool as crap. I really like my kids. So anytime that we can hang out together, I want to do that. And probably the last reason that it all kind of came together, we watch a lot of YouTube. We watch a lot of Pokemon Go YouTubers, and family wasn't something that we really saw represented, at least in the major Pokemon Go YouTube community. So I was like, well, here we are. Like, let's do this thing. We're already out spending all of our freaking free time playing on a mobile game. So let's do this thing. So sorry, that was a really long answer.
No, that was a good answer.
It was great though.
Good answer. That was a good answer.
Yeah.
Oh man, how long you got? No, when Sue and I decided to like start the channel, I had already been playing Pokemon Go, and she's, as you can tell by her score on the Try with YouTubers tournament, she knows a lot about Harry Potter, and more than I do. And when Wizards Unite was announced, we were like, yo, that's something we can definitely like just do together. You know what I'm saying? And so I was like, you know what, Expecto Go, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, let's just call it like that. And we can combine both worlds, because that's just like you and I. Things you wouldn't think would match, but just work out together. And I know with me personally, it was just about representation, just having somebody that looked like me, a football player, football coach, an artist, because I have a graphic design background, who's gung-ho nerdy on the low, and like nobody knew about it. You know what I'm saying? I would do Pokemon tournaments, and like she would dress up as anime characters, and like we would like just be nerdy as crap. And seeing cats like cool in their own skin doing these things that I love on this platform, which is YouTube, I was like, you know what? I don't even care if we get like 10 subscribers. Like, I'm going to enjoy just being nerdy with the other community. And if somebody says, yo, that's awesome, that's all I need. That's all I need. Because like being comfortable in your own skin, that was like basically why. And each video we do, each time we play the game, we talk about this game, it's just breaking off a layer of that shield, that layer, that comfortability that you had before about not talking about these things that you're into and you're nerdy about. And so it kind of just got to that point where you're just like, you know what? Like, I didn't tell anybody, any of my friends. They didn't know we had a YouTube channel for like a year. Like, nobody knew. Like, nobody. It was like, it's just going to be us. We're just going to do it. If anybody asks why you have a camera, we'll tell them. But we're not going to volunteer any information. Like, we're not. And so it just got to a point where we just got more comfortable doing it and having fun and talking about something we love. And then, I mean, the YouTuber community, I mean, my gosh, like seeing other cats with families and like dealing with stuff and going through the same stuff, identity, and also loving the things you know what I'm saying? Like that's a big deal from across the world, from the UK to here to Cali to VA to Australia to everywhere. Like that's a huge deal. And it's already uniting people. Like it's already uniting people. So like, I was like, yo, that's like Lynette said, like that's a tribute to what Niantic's vision as a business was, and what they started with Pokemon Go and what they're doing with Wizards Unite. So long story short, it's just being more comfortable in your own skin and being nerdy on camera. Like that's it.
Wow, excellent answers. So for me, the reason or why Wizards Unite, I think is twofold as well, and I think there's a lot of beauty in the Harry Potter community. I think there are so many different struggles and strifes that I think we all kind of dealt with together growing up. That I was a byproduct of kind of this like introduction of Harry Potter into our communities, into our society. That I, as a young kid, like my dad would read me like the Harry Potter books. Like as soon as they came out, I would go to book like nights. As soon as like the new book was coming out, I would stay up until like midnight so I could go in and buy a book right as like the clock struck 12, which is an incredible thing. Like there were so many people out there that were so excited to either like watch the movie before or kind of have different like costume events and giving out chocolate frogs to people and so many really cool things. That I think the fan base of Harry Potter is so incredible. I've met so many amazing people, but I have also met a lot of very incredible people playing Pokemon Go. That I met people around my school campus. I've met people in my community that I probably never would have talked to. That I think that we all often struggle with the busyness of life in a way that distracts us from the ability to really connect with those around us.
Yeah.
So when I see people like heading to the subway and they have their AirPods in and they're just kind of going from point A to point B, and we all get into routine, right? Like that's a real thing that I think the human condition is very susceptible to, because we enjoy habitual things, we enjoy habits, we enjoy things that are comfortable to us, and we seem to have this like natural staving off of danger, things that are out of the ordinary, that we like this we like the ability to kind of know what's happening or kind of predict the future. Trelawney, like, see into the future, read the tea leaves, right? That we like having that consistency in our lives. And Pokemon Go disrupted the world. Easily said, right? Like the reason that Pokemon Go took off is that it wasn't only a community-focused game or a community event game, but it's something that had us go out and explore together. That my general tagline on my channel is always join the adventure, because that's not only what Pokemon Go opened up for me, but that is what Wizards Unite is continuing to do. That they are passing the torch in a lot of ways and creating new technologies and developments to bring wizarding to life for people. That not only did we get to grow up with Harry Potter, not only did we get to see the books come out, the movies come out, the series, the franchise, the excitement, the worlds, the like different wizarding worlds at parks, but we also get to see the next transformation of that we see wizarding come to our phones. And I think that's something that is going to revolutionize how we see the world, but it's also going to revolutionize how we see each other. And the beauty behind that is that it doesn't matter who you are, that we as people get to unite, that we get to join together, that it's not about his team or her team or our team or whatever that is. It's no longer about a team or a focus specifically on how to win, but necessarily trying to like be the best at this one particular game and get to the high score. It's not about that in the Niantic platform. It's about uniting with those around us. That's how bridges are built. That's how gaps are changed. That I remember for so long that people were so enthralled with Pokemon Go that it seemed as if the world's problems disappeared, and they didn't. Like I know that as a conceptual person that studies the world and understands a lot about how things are happening. But when we focus on building up our communities, when we focus on growing as a Wizards Unite community or a Pokemon Go community or whatever that is, even just your local communities, that's a way that we can really enact change. That's the way that we can share ideas, to join each other in different festivities and activities and unite, not only like through a mobile app, but through human interaction. And I'd always say that's the beauty of what Niantic created in Pokemon Go. And that's why I am more focused on Wizards Unite, because that is a fandom that I grew up with a lot more. That's something that I still read the books every year. That is something that I always try and do and keep back up in the forethought of my mind, because J.K. Rowling has a very beautiful way of telling a story through the eyes of children growing up, but touching on so many human emotions and elements that I don't think we normally get in modern society. That it's easy to look at the bad, it's easy to look at the mundane or the routine, but this is a way to kind of transform and break out of that and really unite as wizards. So that's what I'm most excited about, and that's why I chose Wizards Unite as a focus for the channel.
Nice.
Awesome. Well, I do want to thank everyone for tuning in. Does anyone have any final remarks? Last guys, I want to say goodbye to anyone. Make sure you do subscribe to everyone. Their links are in the description. I will pass it off to Wizard Way Chris first. Go ahead and sign out.
Oh, well, thanks everybody for joining the live stream and for asking your awesome questions. It's always fun to connect with my fellow Wizards Unite peeps. And I love collabing, so this is like my lifeblood with my channel. It's what keeps me going, is knowing that you guys hold me accountable to get my content out. But I hope that everybody has a great day, and I'll see you on Wizard Way, and I hope I'll see you on everybody else's channels as well. Bye, guys.
Yeah, so check me out on Wizard PhD, but also be sure to check out our hashtag WooTuber, hashtag WooTubers, because there's like 20-something of us, and not all of us can fit on this one live stream. So find all
so true.
the social media.
All right, well, bye. I don't know what any of our social media is because Mike does all that crap. Probably the Wizard's Guide. That's
The
my
Wizard's
guess.
Guide.
Yeah.
I hope y'all know. But thanks for having us, Slitherwin. I feel like I got to go like hang out with all of like my BFFs.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So thanks for having us. Thanks for like hanging out with us, guys.
Thanks for hosting, Sutherland. That was a great idea, Q&A with the community. Expecto Go, same name on all various forms of social media. Join the Discord if you have not already. Everybody loves talking Wizards Unite and just Harry Potter in general. It's fun. Everybody's chill. Everybody's funny, like Brit is. Like it's an awesome time. If you ever have time, just hop on in and just talk shop with all of us. But yeah, this was fun. Can't wait to see you guys again, and can't wait to see everybody's videos.
Excellent. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining me. I'm so happy to have the fellow WooTube community hanging out, being able to really spend some time together, dig into some of the questions out there in the community. Thank you for everyone who asked questions, who really promoted this out, who retweeted stuff, who really helped in making today happen. Wizards Unite happens when you are uniting with us, that we are all united together. And I want to thank everyone for joining me, for being here. Thank you so much. I will see y'all next time. Make sure, if you have not yet, check out all those links down below for all of the YouTubers here and join that Discord so that way you can find out about not only the community, but some of the upcoming events, excitement, hype, and some of the upcoming content within Harry Potter Wizards Unite. Slitherwin, out.